The problems with PS2. Pokemon Stadium 2 has basically become the definitive starter stage in competitive Smash Ultimate, and sometimes is even picked for entire sets in a row. This is probably because it's often regarded as the most neutral stage in Smash Ultimate. This means that most characters don't benefit or lose too much from playing on the stage. But recently, there started to be some backlash, with some people tired of seeing or playing on PS2 all the time. So, our question is, what are the problems with PS2? The main reason Pokemon Stadium 2 is gaining haters is because of how overwhelmingly common it is. Whenever you tune into the latest Smash tournament, it seems like 9 times out of 10, you'll find the stage to be that familiar green grassy field. No matter how great a stage is, seeing it that often is going to get boring after 5 years of Ultimate being out. And that's just from a spectator's perspective. Players who actually go to tournaments often find that their opponents are either very eager to go to PS2, or that once they go through the whole stage striking process, PS2 just happens to be the stage that gets picked. Why? Well, as I said before, Pokemon Stadium 2 is supposed to be neutral and so often gets overlooked when players are banning stages. They'll usually ban more polarizing stages like Town and City, Battlefield, or Final Destination, since all those stages have glaring quirks that might make them undesirable, like Town and City's short side blast zones, Battlefield has 3 platforms, and Final Destination has no platforms. So, it can be argued that the prevalence of Pokemon Stadium 2 is less due to many loving the stage and more due to the familiarity with the stage and players' wariness of other stages. While it may not be as polarizing as the stages I just mentioned, Pokemon Stadium 2 does also have some layout issues in its own right, at least if you ask me. The stage is pretty big, so campy characters have a lot of space to move around on, and more importantly, space to run away to if they find themselves in a pinch. The 2 platforms only make running away easier, as they're just spread out enough to make someone standing on one platform a non-threat to someone standing on the other, but just close enough to make getting between platforms pretty easy. Looking at the stage as one that solely promotes camping is a pretty subjective view, but it does have its merits. The underside of the stage is also pretty weird. It's hard to tell where the slope under the ledge begins and the solid ceiling ends. This can lead to players misgauging their position and angling their recovery into the ceiling under the stage, basically killing themselves. Additionally, the stage's aesthetic structural supports can obscure the view under the stage, making it hard to tell exactly what's going on. Lastly, the platforms are decently high and the upper's blast zone is decently low, so some combos that kill off the top like Mario's or Mii Brawlers are especially deadly here. The last point for this video is one that pretty much solely focuses on Steve, so if you don't think Steve is that good of a character, you can kind of ignore it. But anyways, many competitive players believe that the stage is extremely good for Steve. And for those who don't know, Steve is widely considered to be the best character in the game right now, to the point of having been banned at multiple tournaments because some people even think he's overpowered. So of course, people are going to start complaining if the most widely used competitive stage is advantageous for the best competitive character. I'm going to keep it real. I don't play Steve, nor do I play against any pro Steves often, so all the following complaints are basically a synopsis of what I've seen on Twitter and YouTube comment sections, so again, take it with a grain of salt. First of all, Steve apparently mines more diamond and iron on this stage than he does on other stages, thanks to the cycle not including stuff like wood or dirt, more mundane materials. So basically, when he mines, he gets more materials that are like redstone, iron, just useful things. Because he doesn't mine wood or dirt at all on the stage, the lowest ranking block he gets is stone, which helps him make stronger blocks like when he actually builds. And that's really good for camping and cheesing because, stronger blocks on the edge are going to be harder for people's recoveries to break, so they might just bonk their head on the blocks and fall to their death. Or he can build stronger walls with them in order to basically make it hard for the opponent to approach him so he can mine as much as he wants. When you think about it, it's kind of funny that one character has made enough people complain that I'm adding this to the video, but I thought it was worth it. Alright, that's all I have for today. Again, keep in mind this is all subjective pretty much. It's basically just a combination of my own opinions and observations I've made online. That being said, what do you think about Pokemon Stadium 2? If you've got any hot takes to post, or cold ones I guess, do it down in the comments, and I'll see you next time.